squirrel of the House, Mike Johnson, who pulled Trump's little nuts out of his mouth for just a minute, long enough to assure us that he would never sink so low as to play politics.
Would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level.
That's true. Thank you. I like that question.
Do you know you have Rosie O'Donnell?
No.
Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
You're better off not knowing.
Trump was caught on camera complimenting himself while standing next to Melania. "Don't I look handsome today?" he asked reporters while his wife stared blankly into the distance.
Although I was never someone who thought I would move to another country, that's what I decided would be the best for myself and my 12-year-old. And when, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back. And I'm trying to find a home here in this beautiful country.
Rosie O'Donnell couldn't stop laughing when she told Kimmel what happened next. In the last 6 years, Melania has publicly swatted away Trump's hand at least 7 times. The body language experts Kimmel brought on his show confirmed what we all suspected. This marriage isn't exactly what Trump claims it is. His reaction to being called out, total meltdown. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. When Trump talks about his marriage, it's like listening to a bad movie trailer. The greatest love story ever told. But Melania's hands tell a different story. You know how it goes with old Donnie. Every rally, every interview, he's bragging about his perfect marriage, like he's trying to sell us tickets to a rom-com nobody wants to watch. Melania loves me so much, folks. So much. Nobody has ever been loved like this, believe me. And his supporters eat it up while the rest of us are checking the receipts. And boy, do we have receipts. Cameras have caught Melania swatting away Trump's hand at least 7 separate times in public. Remember that time in Israel? Trump reached back for her hand and she slapped it away like it was a mosquito landing on her arm. Then there was the Rome incident, the one in Saudi Arabia, the White House lawn debacle, each one more cringeworthy than the last. Jimmy Kimmel practically turned these moments into a new sport. "Welcome back to Hand Swat Championships 2023, he joked on his show while playing the clips in slow motion. And there it is, folks, a perfect execution of the patented Melania swat. Notice the timing, the precision. This isn't her first rodeo. The audience couldn't stop laughing as Kimmel added color commentary like he was announcing the Super Bowl. But it was Rosie O'Donnell who really hit the nail on the head. On her show, she didn't just laugh at the hand swats, she decoded them. "That's not just embarrassing," she said. "That's a woman sending a crystal clear message. Don't touch me." Rosie even pointed out how Melania's body language changes when Trump approaches. The subtle stiffening, the microscopic step backward. Those aren't the actions of a woman living in marital bliss, Rosie noted. Trump's response? Predictable as ever. The man literally rage tweeted at 3 a.m. "Fake news is lying about our perfect marriage. Melania loves me and has never rejected me. Rosie and Kimmel are failures with no ratings." The all caps only made him look more desperate, like a guy trying to convince his friends that his girlfriend who lives in Canada is totally real. These hand swat compilations became such regular features on both Kimmel and O'Donnell's platforms that viewers would write in requesting updates whenever a new one happened. Trump Marriage Watch became a recurring segment, with Kimmel joking, "We're tracking marital happiness the same way we track presidential approval ratings, and both are hitting record lows." The plot thickened when Kimmel invited actual body language experts onto his show. They confirmed what everyone with eyes could already see. These weren't accidental movements. "The consistency is what's telling," said one expert. "One time could be coincidence. 7 times is a pattern." Another expert pointed out that Melania's movements showed instinctive aversion, basically fancy talk for she really doesn't want this guy touching her. What's truly fascinating is the mental gymnastics Trump performs to maintain his fantasy marriage narrative while the evidence plays out in public. It's like watching someone insist it's sunny while standing in a thunderstorm getting soaked. The contrast between Trump's claims and reality became comedy gold. Kimmel once put together a split screen of Trump bragging about his loving wife alongside a montage of Melania dodging his attempts at affection like she was in the Matrix. And the hand swats are just the appetizer in this feast of marital awkwardness. There's a whole collection of clips showing Trump leaning in for a kiss while Melania turns her head faster than an Olympic sprinter, transforming what was meant to be a kiss on the lips into an awkward cheek graze or sometimes just air. If physical rejection wasn't cringeworthy enough, Trump's bizarre self-admiration routine takes the awkwardness to a whole new level. Ever noticed how the only one genuinely impressed by Trump seems to be Trump himself? While most couples share loving glances or supportive touches during public appearances, the Donald prefers to use joint press conferences as his personal hype session. Picture this: cameras rolling, reporters waiting, and instead of acknowledging his wife standing right beside him, Trump launches into a one-man fan club meeting. "Don't I look great today?" he once asked journalists, completely oblivious to Melania's 1,000-yard stare into nothingness. It's like watching someone read their dating profile aloud while their actual date contemplates the fastest escape route. These narcissistic displays have become such a pattern that late-night hosts couldn't resist turning them into comedy gold. Jimmy Kimmel, never one to miss an opportunity to roast Trump, compiled these excruciating moments into a montage he cleverly titled "The Real Housewife of Washington, D.C. Hostage Edition." The audience howled as clip after clip showed Trump lavishing praise on himself while Melania stood by, her face frozen in what can only be described as emotional hibernation. Rosie O'Donnell, Trump's longtime nemesis, had perhaps the most devastating take on Melania's expression during these self-love fests. She described it as the face of a woman who's calculating exactly how much longer she needs to stand there. Ouch, that's not just comedy, that's psychological analysis disguised as a punchline. What makes these moments so fascinating is the stark contrast between Trump's inflated self-image and Melania's visible disconnection. While he rambles on about being handsome and successful, she transforms before our eyes. That famous model poise melts away into something more authentic and unmistakable, pure, unfiltered disinterest. It's like watching someone mentally check out of a timeshare presentation while the salesman keeps talking. The comedic value multiplies when you notice the timing. Whenever Trump starts praising himself, you can almost set your watch by how quickly Melania's eyes glaze over. It's as though his self-compliments trigger an automatic shutdown sequence in her brain, a coping mechanism developed over years of marriage to someone whose favorite topic is always himself. Kimmel took the comedy another step further with a devastatingly effective split-screen comparison. On one side, we see other presidential couples, the Obamas leaning into each other, the Bushes exchanging warm glances, the Clintons sharing genuine laughter. On the other side, the Trumps standing with the kind of gap between them that suggests they might be allergic to each other. The audience didn't need commentary to get the joke. The visual spoke volumes. What's particularly telling about Trump's self-praise routine isn't just how awkward it makes everyone feel. It's what it reveals about their relationship dynamic. Most married couples, especially those in the public eye, try to build each other up. They deflect praise toward their partner or share credit for achievements. But Trump seems pathologically incapable of this basic marital courtesy. His need for validation is so overwhelming that he'll sacrifice his wife's comfort just to hear himself declare his own greatness. There's something almost tragic about watching a man so desperate for approval that he'll embarrass his wife on camera. Behind the comedy and the cringe, these moments reveal a profound insecurity. For all his bluster about winning and success, Trump's constant self-compliments suggest someone who doesn't actually believe his own hype, at least not enough to stop repeating it like a broken record. Meanwhile, Melania's blank stares have become a form of silent rebellion. When words fail or are contractually prohibited, body language speaks volumes. Her emotional withdrawal during these moments feels less like shyness and more like a conscious decision to withhold the validation he so desperately craves. While Melania's emotional withdrawal speaks volumes, it's her physical positioning that has Kimmel and O'Donnell convinced she's living in what they've dubbed a hostage scenario. The space between Donald and Melania isn't just awkward, it's mathematically consistent in a way that body language experts find deeply troubling. Kimmel didn't need a tape measure to prove his point about Melania's unusual distancing habits. His show featured footage comparing the Trumps to other political power couples, and the contrast was striking. While most first couples maintain intimate proximity, Melania consistently positions herself at what comedians jokingly referred to as the recommended safe distance from an active crime scene. But the physical gap is just the beginning of what these comedians have uncovered. Perhaps nothing is more revealing than what Kimmel calls Melania's happiness disappearing act. The transformation is so swift and dramatic that Kimmel had to play it in slow motion for his audience. 1 second, she's smiling dutifully for the cameras. The next, as soon as Trump turns away, her face drops into an expressionless mask that would make a poker player jealous. It's like watching someone punch out at the end of a shift, Kimmel joked to his audience. Except her shift is pretending to be happily married. The comedian's observations gained credibility when Kimmel invited actual body language experts onto his show. These professionals pointed out Melania's intriguing habit of creating physical barriers between herself and her husband. Whether it's a handbag, a child, or even those infamous blood-red Christmas trees that O'Donnell described as Christmas decorations from hell, Melania consistently finds ways to place objects in Trump's path. Those creepy red trees weren't just bad taste, O'Donnell quipped. They were a cry for help written in holiday decor. The experts explained that this barrier-creating behavior is textbook avoidance, a subconscious attempt to create emotional and physical distance from someone who makes you uncomfortable. Combined with her mechanical smile that appears only when directly observed, the evidence points to what one expert described as classic emotional withdrawal cues. Even more telling is how Melania has organized her schedule to maximize time away from her husband. Unlike previous first ladies who generally lived full-time at the White House, Melania spent unprecedented time in New York during Trump's presidency, officially for Barron's schooling. This unusual arrangement had late-night hosts wondering if Melania's real education priority was teaching Barron how to avoid ending up like Dad 101. What makes these observations particularly cutting is that they contradict Trump's carefully crafted narrative of marital bliss. The president's public rage against these comedians reveals how deeply their commentary struck a nerve. While Trump can dismiss policy criticisms as partisan attacks, it's harder to explain away video evidence of his wife physically recoiling from his touch. The comedy routines struck such a chord with viewers that amateur sleuths began creating their own compilation videos titled Melania's Escape Attempts. These viral clips show Melania appearing to pull away, step back, or create distance whenever Trump approaches, behavior that viewers might not have noticed without Kimmel and O'Donnell highlighting the pattern. Perhaps the most damning observation came when O'Donnell pointed out that Melania's distancing isn't random or situational. It's consistent across years of footage. This isn't just having a bad day, O'Donnell noted. This is having a bad decade. What started as comedy bits has evolved into a national conversation about body language, public perception, and the gap between image and reality. Kimmel and O'Donnell didn't need to make jokes about the Trump's marriage. They simply played the footage and let audiences draw their own conclusions. When Trump sees Kimmel or O'Donnell talking about his marriage, he doesn't just get mad, he has complete meltdowns. His response to their comedy bits is like watching a toddler who's had his favorite toy taken away. The man fires off angry tweets at 3 a.m. filled with spelling mistakes, random capital letters, and enough exclamation points to make an 8th grade English teacher cry. The old orange fella seems particularly triggered by Rosie O'Donnell. Their feud has been going on forever, but when she points out his marriage problems, he loses what little marbles he has left. His responses are just word salads of insults that make absolutely no sense, calling her a total loser while claiming his marriage is perfect. The funniest part? Every time Trump screams about how much Melania loves him, we all just look at the footage again and think, dude, we can see her face. We have eyes. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot, or maybe in the spray tan.